Welcome back to the Two Dudes and a Beard podcast. This is our conference championships weekend special. This will be mainly about the conference championships. We're predicting every one of those. Do you know how our bets went last week or no? We didn't do that good, so we don't even need to bring them up. Correct? I would suppose that. So we'll just move on right from that.
I think we went about half and half. We weren't.
So we went 4-4 again. It's whatever. What really matters is this week. So I'll add up the bets and get you guys the total next week. I totally forgot to do that. But we'll move on. We'll do the top games from last week. We'll start with the Egg Bowl. What a game on Thanksgiving. State ended up beating Ole Miss by 2. I don't even know where you even start with that game. A lot happened.
So I'm absolutely surprised by the fact that State pulled it off, but hey, at the end of the day, Hell State.
It's crazy because the person that scored the winning touchdown for State, the Raw Thomas guy, he actually entered the transfer portal today. That's crazy. That's another. We'll bring up transfer portal later on. That's one person that I'm not going to bring up, so I decided to go with it there. But overall, Ole Miss didn't play good because Mississippi State's defense is really good. Because Ole Miss scored how many field goals? 1, 2, 3. They scored 3 field goals, only 2 touchdowns. But a lot of people can't say they only hold Ole Miss to 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, I'm liking Mississippi State's team, and I'm actually looking forward to them next year because I think that they're actually going to be better than Ole Miss next year. But we'll see.
We'll never know. It's football for you. But we do know Kiffin is signed his extension, so he will still be at Ole Miss next season, bearing the all those Auburn rumors. We'll talk about who they hired in a minute. But we know Kiffin's staying. And we'll move to, was this the Friday night game? UNC and NC State? I believe this is a Friday game.
Yes, I believe you are correct.
It was a double overtime game, ending with a pair of field goals by NC State. Yeah. Christopher Dunn came in clutch. Noah Burnett, unfortunately, could not make his. And NC State with a, fourth string ranked UNC. Ben Finley played superb that game. Cole actually said he should transfer portal and become a SEC quarterback because he played so good.
I 100% believe that. The kid played lights out, and I mean, he's only a freshman. I think there's a lot of talent there. I think any team, whether it's LSU, Alabama, Ole Miss, Kentucky, I think anybody would be happy to have him.
Now, if he went to an Alabama, he wouldn't start, obviously, but he could definitely work his way up there. We've seen many Alabama quarterbacks work their way up. Matt Jones was behind Tua and Hurts. Tua and Hurts is who I was thinking of. So he could work his way up. He seemed pretty good in his game for the versus Stars. And UNC did not look good at all. Drake May struggled, especially. They have no momentum now heading to this Clemson game this weekend. They did not need that whatsoever. But at least they can say they're going to give the battle to Clemson tomorrow, though.
One thing I will say is that, and I hate to say this about a quarterback, but I think that May might have been a little bit overrated just based off of his performance because, I mean, going into it, everybody was talking about how he's a, competitor for the Heisman. I did not see a Heisman quarterback. I mean, I don't know if you agree or not, but that was not Heisman play.
Well, I think he was always going to play bad because it's hard to say you're going to be a Heisman contender in the ACC. His stats said he was a Heisman. He was fourth in passing. He's fourth in passing this year with 3.8K yards. 35 passing touches, only 5 interceptions with a 84 QBR rating. He has his stats to back up. It's just he plays in the ACC, which will likely not get him any votes. But the Heisman's going to be Caleb Williams. I'm sorry to tell you guys this. A Pac-12 quarterback's going to win the Heisman. He's been the best player in the country by a long shot. Even though I don't like USC, I will never like USC. But that kid is good. Even though he's my age. I called him a kid, yep.
That's a bold bet, but I like it.
I think he is the favorite right now, by the way. Because Hendon Hooker got hurt. Bryce Young struggled this year. Blake Corum got hurt. We'll talk about that in a minute. So it's like he's really if he plays a good night, he's probably going to win it. But we'll discuss that in a little bit. Now we'll move on to 3 shocking games that we definitely did not see coming. We did not see any of these coming. I would have said Ohio State would have won, but Michigan absolutely destroyed them. 45-23 at the Horseshoe. They're not going to make the playoff just because you cannot lose 22 at home if you think you're a playoff contender.
No, absolutely not. And I thought Michigan was going to win, and I don't want to say pulling for Michigan. I don't really follow that conference very much, but Michigan played a hell of a game, and they deserve every bit to be in the playoff. And I would say Ohio State does not.
Here, I'm gonna give you. I'll give you 3 names, and Ohio State fans will be pissed. JJ McCarthy, Donovan Edwards, because Blake Corum got hurt, and Cornelius Johnson. McCarthy, 12 of 24 for 263 and 3 touchdowns. Edwards had 216 for 2 yards. 2 yards, really, Britt. 2 touchdowns. And Cornelius Johnson had 4 receptions for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns. If you those 3 players right there destroyed that defense, and Ohio State did not look like anywhere near a top 4 team. And hence why TCU, they have to win tomorrow. That's why Ohio State will not make the playoff. Their defense is leaky. Even their quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that TCU is clearly the better team. If I were to make a full top 25 ranking right now, I would have Ohio State probably somewhere around 10. Even if that. So
there'd be a lot of SEC. Because the SEC is the best conference, obviously. It's like Georgia, Michigan, TCU, USC, SEC, SEC, ACC, SEC. That's not me being biased, guys. It's just facts. Because LSU's up there, Tennessee's still up there, and Bama's up there. Then Clemson will obviously be up there still. And speaking of Clemson, they lost to South Carolina. What a crazy game. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Clemson in this game. It really says how bad Clemson struggled here. Good job to Spencer Rattler for turning it around. 2 top 10 wins in back-to-back weeks. Crazy.
Yeah, I'm happy for Rattler. I actually pull for the guy. As you know, I have a personal dislike for Clemson, so I was pulling for South Carolina, and I was very happy to see them win.
This is their first win versus them since 2013, so massive for the Gamecocks. Now, there's one certain player. Let me find his name real quick for South Carolina. Antoine Wells Jr. That may arguably be a top 5 wide receiver in the country. He absolutely smoked Clemson. I don't really watch Clemson that much as I should, but he destroyed them multiple times.
Yeah, no, the one thing that I thought was crazy was I put the game on and I was like, hey, go Gamecocks. We're going to watch this and all that. And I think Clemson went up, 14-0 in the first quarter. And I was like, all right, nah, I'm going to turn on something else. And come to find out, Gamecocks actually pulled it out. So, hey, go Game Chickens.
It's crazy because South Carolina took the lead with, I don't know, Zach time. With 10:54 left on the clock. Clemson had 1, 2, 3, 4. They had 4 possessions, with the final one being a fumble on a punt return. You're going to lose the game like that. But good job to South Carolina making the SEC look good versus the top 10 Clemson ACC team. Are you ready for it? LSU went to College Station, a team that lost pretty much every freshman they had to the transfer portal this last week, and they lost by 15. LSU. I like LSU. You obviously like LSU. What went wrong in this game?
Yeah, so honestly, a lot. I mean, I went to LSU, so obviously I'm a fan, but they walked into Kyle Field, in my opinion, they walked into Kyle Field, which is A&M Stadium, thinking that it was going to be a walkover game. Just a game that they could walk in and,
Just dominate, yeah.
Yeah, they were focused on the
Georgia.
They were focused on Georgia, exactly. So they walked in and they got beat by a sleeper team, which, I mean, A&M is. I know A&M has had their issues and all that, but hell, playing in College Station, I mean, anything can happen any given day, and LSU found that out.
We seen it last year of Alabama. It can happen. But I'm going to give credit to two players on A&M that truly won them this game. Freshman quarterback Connor Wegman. I think he'll be a starter next year. Then junior Devin Etienne. He played superb. I knew he'd get over. So on my so on the betting app I use, he had over or under 110 rushing yards. I clicked the over because I looked at stats before the game started. LSU allows a lot of rushing yards, and he got 215. A lot of stuttering there, but we're good. We got it. We got to what I was trying to say. But I'm trying. HN dominate LSU. That's what I was trying to say. But LSU's playoff hopes are limited. I can't say they're gone because the committee might do something if they beat Georgia.
Yeah, so the only thing I'll add from that game is that freshman quarterback for A&M. What's his name? Weidman, is that right?
I don't know how to say it, but Wagman, right?
Yeah.
Sorry if we know you're saying we know you're saying we are saying your name wrong. But yeah, him.
That dude played fucking lights out. I was pulling for LSU, watching the game and all that, but that fucking kid can play. I look forward to seeing what he can do in the future.
It just makes you think. Similar to LSU in 2019, even though we can't compare, obviously, Texas A&M to LSU from that year. That team was arguably the best of all time. But what I'm meaning by that, A&M's losing a lot to the draft, the transfer portal, similar to LSU did that year. Do you see them repeating this year as they're losing so much? Or do you see them going up?
With A&M, I think that they're going to have a tough road to hoe next year, simply because of all the speculation about are they going to fire their coach? Are they not? Are they going to do this? Are they going to do that? Anytime there's any kind of internal disarray, I'll put it that way, inside of an operation, the entire operation itself suffers. So I see the uncertainty as causing problems for them. Who's going to be our coach? Who's going to be our coordinators? Those kind of questions are going to permeate through the locker room, and I foresee those being issues more so than anything.
Because they already fired their offensive coordinator, so who knows who's going to be next there?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's all I have for that game. So. All right. We're about to be on this section for a long time. But before we get to the coaches and the transfer portal, we'll start with Blake Corum. He had season-ending knee surgery. Massive loss for Michigan, but I think they'll be fine. We've seen what Donovan Edwards did versus Ohio State. I don't know if they have anything to worry about.
Yeah, I think that I think that Michigan will be fine without him. But at the same time, I will say that I hate that for the kid, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody. So I wish him speedy recovery as possible, and hopefully he'll be back next year, bigger and better than ever.
He was a Heisman contender as well. He might go NFL. I don't know exactly what year he's in, but he could go NFL. And beating Ohio State is the last game he'll ever play in for Michigan. I mean, that's a great last game to play in there if you're a Michigan player.
That is true. I mean, that's one of the ultimate rivalries in college football. I mean, outside of like LSU, Alabama, and stuff like that.
And we'll move to another topic that was released a few days ago. 12-team playoff. It starts in 2024 thanks to the approval of the Rose Bowl. We discussed a little bit before we started recording. The playoffs need to extend it for a while. I know a lot of people don't like it, but it just gives more meaning to games down this stretch of the season. Oh, only 1 through 8 can make the playoff? Okay, fine. Make it 1 through 16 make the playoff. See, if you're having 12 teams makes it a lot better. I understand why people don't want it. It makes you have to prove you're the best. But having 12 teams can cause more drama and all that jazz. So I support the crap out of the 12-team playoff, and I'm sure you do too.
Yeah, I concur. I mean, it's better for the fans. And I mean, you look at basically any other sport, whether it's pro football, pro basketball, college basketball, pretty much no matter what it is, there's an extensive team playoff. And I mean, my preference would actually be for there to be more than 12 teams. But I think 12 teams is a good start.
So wait, so what do you think what would you want it to be?
I would say 32.
32?
That's college basketball, right? 32?
No, that's 64. Oh, 68. They have the worst 4 teams play each other to determine who gets in there. But it's down to 64, yeah.
Yeah, and then after that, it would be 32.
And then, yeah.
Yeah.
So how would that work?
I would say 32, yeah.
So would you want the best 4 teams to have a bye, or?
Yeah, I mean, I would think you would seed it like, basically mirror what college basketball does. Wouldn't you agree?
I guess that's how you would take it, yeah. Alabama play that would just be a lot to calculate. Like who gets in, who gets not, who doesn't get in, who doesn't, whatever. But yeah, I see what you mean there. That would be interesting. All right, are you ready to talk to some coaches? The coaches that you know.
I was about to say you're gonna smoke me on this one, but I'll do my best.
We'll start with the ones you know. We'll start with Auburn. Liberty head coach Hugh Freeze. He had a stint in the SEC, but the SEC is hard, so he didn't last long. But he's back after a pretty good stint with Liberty. What do you think about this?
So, as somebody who likes Ole Miss, I will say that Hugh Freeze didn't make it in the SEC, not because he's a bad coach. He didn't make it because of behavioral issues that forced him to resign. And I'm not going to go any further into that.
Yep.
I think the SEC is where he belongs. I think he's a good coach. And honestly, I hate that he's at Auburn. I kind of wish that he would have went somewhere else, somewhere that I'm a fan of, because I really do believe he's a good coach.
I would say if Kiffin would have left Ole Miss, I'm pretty sure they would have got Freeze. That's all I'm going to say. I'm pretty sure that would have happened, but I don't know. Who else we got? Oh, Tom Herman was hired at FAU, I believe, yesterday at the time of recording this. Former Texas head coach. I believe he took a year off, if I'm not mistaken, after getting fired from Texas a few years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Herman whenever he was in Texas. I don't pay too much attention to Texas, but I'll watch them every now and again. I don't think he was a bad coach. I don't think he was great. Somewhere like FAU, he'll probably do pretty well.
You just have standards for certain schools. SEC schools, you have standards. Texas, you have standards. Sark's doing good down there for that. So it's like you have to do better than you can. Do best you can, or you're gone. Now, Matt Rule helped Baylor a lot, but now he's been hired at Nebraska. After a stint in the NFL, he's back in college. I think this is a great fit, personally. The type of he was at Baylor and Temple. Started with, I think, like 1 to 3 wins each season with to start them, both of them. Then he built them up. Temple, he had 10 back-to-back wins. And then at Baylor, he got the Sugar Bowl versus Ole Miss. No, that wasn't Ole Miss. Who was it? He got them to the Sugar Bowl, and I think he won Big 12, unless that was Arnanda. I don't know. Anyways, I think it's a great hire for Nebraska.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. He came in, unfucked Temple. Whenever he went to Baylor the previous season, Baylor had won a singular game and lost the rest of their games.
Sounds accurate, yeah.
The following season, I actually looked it up. He won every game except for one. So he completely flipped the record. Yeah, no, I mean, he has a history of turning, programs around. I was wishing him well at Carolina whenever he went to the NFL, but I mean, the NFL and college is a totally different game. So he's probably back where he belongs, but I think he'll do really well. I think it's a good hire.
All right, now we got Luke Fickell going to Wisconsin. The shock of the coaching hiring so far. Cincinnati's going Big 12. No one thought it was going to happen. I did not think Wisconsin was going to be slot. He's waiting for the Ohio State job. What do you think about Fickell?
I mean, I don't really follow that conference a whole lot, but I mean, I ultimately think it's a good hire. I'm kind of shocked that he actually took the job, but yeah, I think they came out on top.
Well, I think Wisconsin knew exactly what they were doing. Get a coach out and led a team to the playoff. Yes. We remember Cincinnati did go to the playoff. We knew they were going to get smacked by Georgia. So we know.
Yes, we do.
There's a lot of other good coach hirings. We've done Kenny Dillon to Arizona State. That's going to be a good one for Oregon. He was the Oregon offensive coordinator. But now we'll move on to the transfer portal. Guys, like 3,000 athletes have entered the transfer portal in the last since it's been open for everyone. The FBS one, Power 5 Group 5, opens on Monday. You can probably guess that's going to be havoc. So where should we begin?
Oh, dude, that's going to be forgive my language, that's going to be a fucking shit show.
There's like 3,000 NAIA Division 3, Division 2, FCS and FBS already in there. And the FBS one hasn't opened yet. All right, we'll start with Cade McNamara. I said that wrong, I'm sorry. He led Michigan he helped Michigan to get to the playoff last year. He's not a bad quarterback. Kentucky, teams like Kentucky wanted him. There's rumors of other SEC schools wanting him, but he went to Iowa, the worst offensive teams in the country. I don't know how that makes any logic, but I guess he just wants to try to make them go do something or something. I don't know. Kind of weird.
I think he wanted to go somewhere where he could get the maximum, amount of exposure.
I guess, yeah.
He knew that he could go there, start right away, get some film and all that stuff for the NFL scout guys. I mean, that's all I can think of.
I mean, he says in a major football conference because they're probably second, right? SEC, it's close between them and Big 12, so we'll say that. We'll say second for now. Then we have some other notable ones that we've talked. We talked about Haynes King. He's entered, as I rumored on this show that he probably would enter when he lost his job to Max Johnson. I said he would enter, and in fact he did enter. Then we talked about Hudson Card. He's also entered the transfer portal. But other notable ones like Kentucky running back Kavasuke Smoke. I'm going to miss him because he has one of the best names in college football. And I thought he was a pretty good player on the field as well. Wish him the best wherever he goes. Apparently, Mississippi State's a rumor for that one, for him, by the way.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Smoke played really well, especially whenever Rodriguez was out with suspension. He was a big help to them. I honestly hate to see him go, but just like you, I do hope he does well wherever he ends up.
He could end up at Mississippi State. There's a lot of rumors of that, so he might not leave your fan you're cheering. And then there are other notable ones like Field. I'm sorry, the Boston College quarterback that got hurt, Phil Jerkovic. He was supposed to be a great quarterback this year, and Boston College had their bad season. He entered the portal. Drew Pond, Notre Dame's quarterback, he led them to that Clemson upset. He entered the portal. Probably one of the higher potential quarterbacks in the portal so far. You remember Virginia last year whenever they dominated everyone out? I bet they just crapped the bed this year.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that quarterback, Brendan Armstrong, entered the portal as well. Then other ones like Theo West, our Oklahoma receiver, and Alabama receiver, Trayshawn Holden. I'm surprised Theo West didn't transfer to USC with Lincoln Riley last offseason.
Yeah,
Trayshawn,
that's the same.
I could see Trayshawn Holden going to Iowa. Cade McNamara, I said it wrong again. He's going to get a lot of skilled position players up to Iowa, and they might actually do something next year. We'll discuss that on here hopefully next season. We'll do like a little preview before the season starts next year.
Oh, for sure.
Man, Kentucky's lost a couple wide receivers because of, but I can confirm none of them are Baron Brown or Dane Key. Kentucky fans are rejoicing over that. But who knows, though? Transfer portal makes everything crazy, so who knows who's going to enter up. Bryce Young could enter. We would never know. I doubt, obviously. He's going to be top pick, but he could have entered last season for money. But Dr. Pepper took care of that one for Alabama. I mean,
you're not wrong.
All right. There'll be more transfer portal content towards the end of the bowl season, so we'll move on. It's time for the conference championship special. We'll start the CUSA championship. UTSA is favorite by 8.5 against North Texas. UTSA is definitely the best team in this game, but it's conference champ season, so you never know what's going to happen. But I'm going to UTSA with my lack of knowledge.
I agree 100%. UTSA.
I wish I would kept more odds on this conference. I do find it interesting how they almost lost to everyone. To the Sun Belt, I believe it was. And now, probably the most impactful conference championship here. It's actually about to come on. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, it's about to come on. Utah and USC. USC lost to Utah earlier in the season. Caleb Williams is the difference maker in this game. If he has a bad game, the Heisman voters are going to be like, who do we even pick at this point? So there's guaranteed no one if he plays bad. But with that being said, Caleb Williams will lead USC to the playoff and the Pac-12 championship, so I got USC.
I got the Utes. I'm pulling for the upset. Like you said, it's already happened. It'll happen again. Go Utes.
For this game, I expect this to be high scoring. So if you guys would have went with the over on this game, the bets are probably already closed for this game now, but they are. The bets you should have went over no matter what here. I'm sure the over was like 65, 67 or something like that. So you already know this Pac-12 is going to be high scoring. There ain't no defense in that conference. And we'll move on to the Saturday noon, Eastern time, noon. We got Kansas State and TCU. I do believe this is the best game they could have gotten that conference. Texas struggled a lot. TCU showed dominance last week versus Iowa State. You shouldn't have expected anything less. A 50-point win was something I was not expecting, though, even though that should have happened since they are a top 4 team. But I do have faith in TCU in this game, so I'm rocking with them.
Absolutely. TCU all the way. I'm not a TCU fan. I lived in Fort Worth for a long time, so I do know a lot of TCU fans, and they think that they've got the best team that they've ever had, which I would not disagree with.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that either.
So, yeah, go Horned Frogs.
I know they had I think it was 11-2 team in 20. I had some data about it earlier in the season when they went 8-0. I didn't think they would make it 12-0, but credit to the Horned Frogs and Sunny Docks. We'll move on to some action. Toledo versus Ohio. Toledo is at 3-point favorite as a 7-5 team. I'm pretty sure they have a lot of injuries. With that being said, that's not confirmed, by the way. I think they have a lot of injuries, so I'm going with Ohio.
I don't know anything about the MAC, so I'm going to follow your lead on this one. Let's go Ohio.
I'm confirmed picking the better records, so that's why I'm picking Ohio, guys. Toledo is good, though. Don't get me wrong. I'm picking better record. Coastal Carolina versus Troy. Troy has been one of those teams that have surprised everyone this year. Thanks to former Kentucky linebackers coach John Summerall. I really wanted to pick Troy in this game until I saw the spread, so I'm going with Coastal Carolina. Both these teams are great, by the way. They should cause some drama in the bow season.
Yeah, I agree. This should actually be a great game. It could go either way, but I'm going to say Coastal.
That's because we know them and all that such. Maybe it's not smart to go with Coastal here. I just realized Jamie Caldwell, their coach, is favored to be the Liberty coach after Hugh Freeze left. Who knows, though? Well, I'm still backing Coastal either way. I think they have a little bit more talent, but both teams are great. We'll move to the SEC for LSU and Georgia. We've seen some weakness out of Georgia the last few weeks, but we have also with LSU. LSU has to play their A game to absolutely beat Georgia. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this game's tough to call. It's on my bet list later, but, I mean, I always bet on the SEC championship. I'm going LSU, but it could go either way. I mean, if Georgia plays like they did against Kentucky, LSU will win.
But if they play versus Georgia Tech, LSU will get smacked.
Or like they did against Tennessee.
Or Tennessee, yeah.
Yeah.
They've had more good games than bad games.
Right.
But I do believe LSU will cover in this game, but I do have Georgia. As much as I do want to pick LSU, I just think Georgia is just the best team in college football by some yards.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I mean, if the only thing I'm thinking is that the Georgia team that played against Kentucky shows up. They barely held on against Kentucky. If they play that way, LSU's got a shot.
Oh yeah, they definitely have. I mean, it's conference championship week. Utah can go out there and beat USC by 700. No, I'm just kidding. USC could lose by 10. They won't make the playoffs. So the five seed in playoff was Bama. If USC loses, Bama's in. Or Ohio State? 1 or 2.
Yeah, which is freaking amazing to me. But anyway.
All right, we will move on to UFC and Tulane. They legit just played a couple weeks ago, and the game was competitive. USF did win that one by, I think it was 38-31, if I'm not thinking wrong. But I do believe Tulane will get their revenge. I'm going with Tulane.
I agree. Go Green Wave.
I gave my compliments to Tulane a few weeks ago. So I think Tulane should take care of business here. Fresno State and Boise State. This is the conference I know nothing about. I like underdogs, so I went with Fresno State, even though I'm pretty sure Boise State might be the better team.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I have no idea on this one, so I'm just going to follow your lead, Fresno State.
And we'll move to the Big Ten. Purdue. Purdue's the team that made it out of the West. Okay. Purdue and Michigan. I can't believe Purdue. Someone I talked to on Twitter legit had Purdue winning it. The most random division in college football. Purdue and Michigan. Purdue has a great record versus top 3 teams. Plus, the spoil makers might be coming out tomorrow. Who knows? I would love to see some drama for the college football playoff show. So, with that being said, I'm going Purdue. Sorry, Michigan fans. I do believe you guys have a great team. I just like upsets.
Dude, after that ass whipping from last week, that Michigan.
It's hard to pick them. It's hard to pick, against them.
Yeah, no, I can't pick against them. I got Michigan. I mean, they look fantastic.
Realistically, I'm picking the upset, but Michigan's probably going by 40. But, oh well, I'm picking Purdue. And we'll end off with the predictions with Clemson and North Carolina. Oh, boy. Both teams lost last week. Neither team has momentum. Could be a prime upset candidate for the week. I just think Clemson has more talent than UNC, even though I do believe UNC has the better quarterback, because neither quarterback's good. Drake May's the better one. But I am going with Clemson on this one because I believe they have the better running back. And that's going to be the key to say Will Shipley will win this game for Clemson.
I agree. I watched the NC State Clemson game. I mean, it was a tight game, but ultimately Clemson should have won that game by a fucking mile. Or sorry, not Clemson, UNC. I don't have much faith in UNC, so I'm going for Clemson, even though that makes me feel dirty because I'm not a big fan of Clemson.
Even though NC State did play Clemson good before all their injuries happened. They only lost 30-20. So they had their actual starting quarterback in that game too, I believe. So who knows what will happen there. But like I said, Drake May's their best rusher. He's also their quarterback. Will Shipley will win this game for them. Even though, hey, more upsets the better, right? We always say that upsets are great. We love upsets. We just don't see it for this one, even though that might be the best spread to bet on. But I ain't doing that.
No, hell no. No.
That's the one game. That's the one conference championship I would not touch with a bet. Speaking of bets, let's get right to let's make some money this weekend. So first one is Kansas State and TCU. The over and under is 61.5. If I'm thinking right, it was 38-28 in their earlier season meeting, which that's what is that? 66? Yeah, 66. So I would say it's safe bet they're going to score points tomorrow. So I think that's a great one to go with. Then here's free underdog picks. I'll just combine them. As I said, I don't know much about Boise State and Fresno State, but I do know Fresno State has Jake Haynier, a great quarterback. Could have went to Washington last year, but went back to Fresno. I like Fresno in that game. And Coastal Carolina's 8-point underdogs versus Troy. As I said, Troy is a great team. But I do believe Coastal will pull this one out. So I got Coastal plus 8. And Ohio versus Toledo. Yeah, Maction's weird. You never know what you're going to get. So yeah, I'm going Ohio plus 3. Who you got?
All right, for my bets this week, I'm going with one upset as well as you did. I'm going to go LSU getting 17.5. I bet against Georgia once this year, and that was on Kentucky, and I actually won. Kentucky did not win the game, but they did cover the spread. So I'm going to follow that up. LSU, Georgia, generally with SEC conference championships, they're very low scoring games.
Correct.
So I'm going to take the under, which is 52. I think TCU is just going to absolutely smash Kansas State. Kansas State has a good team, don't get me wrong, but I think TCU is, as I said earlier in the podcast, way better than they've ever been before. So I'm taking TCU giving up 2.5. And Tulane is obviously way, way better than they've ever been. So I'm taking Tulane giving up 4.
I was quickly looking at the not the Big 10, Big 12. I'm curious, is Kansas State the second best team in the conference? I'm trying to think of who else would even be a competition for the championship. Was it Texas that hadn't needed Kansas State to lose and they beat Kansas? I think it was Texas.
I believe you are correct. Yes, Texas.
So TCU played Kansas State worse than they played worse, or they played better versus Texas. So I believe this is the right 2 teams in this Big 12 championship. Oklahoma, they got lucky they were both eligible. Kansas somehow pulled 6 wins out of their butt. Texas Tech was a big surprise this year. 7-5. I did not think that would happen. Iowa State, what happened? You guys are absolute trash.
So I like to mess with Texas Tech a lot because I work with an engineer that went to school there, and so I jack with him a lot. But I have no problem with the Red Raiders. They had a pretty good year for what they had to deal with.
Just think about it, though. They finished above Oklahoma State, Baylor, Oklahoma, and West Virginia. Well, West Virginia one might not have been a surprise to people, but the other 3 on the other end, they probably were surprises. Everyone thought Baylor was going to be good, Oklahoma was going to be good, and Oklahoma State was going to be good. But they all kind of just fell off. That hurt my heart by saying that. Go Bears. Anyways, we'll move to our top 4. You guys are making money on those bets, but I hope you guys know that. Our top 4 are the same. There's not really any much doubt about them. Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and USC. They're the best 4.
Yeah, no, I mean there's really no argument you can make to go either way. I am hoping that Utah beats USC tonight, which would knock USC out of that. But until that happens, there is no data that I can look at that says that USC does not belong in the top 4.
Their only loss is to Utah, correct? And if they revenge that loss tonight,
yes, that is correct.
They're in. They have to be in. You can't if they think Ohio State's going in with a 22-point loss at home, they got another thing coming. Even though they probably want Ohio State in for the views and the ratings, that they know Ohio State fans are wild, even Bama fans. Don't be surprised if one of these teams loses this weekend. Those 2 teams will get the chance to get in the playoff. I
agree. I mean, I'm not saying I agree with the decision, but I agree with what you're saying. I think that LSU would probably deserve it a little more, but I know that's not going to happen. So,
how far did LSU drop? 14? Oh, they dropped to 14. Yeah, they're out.
Yeah, they're out.
Dang, that's tough. I would say borderline Clemson has a chance. No, I'm joking. They're gone. Get them out of here.
Bama has a better chance than LSU at this point.
That is true, yeah. What's the SEC looking like? Let's look at the standings of SEC before we end this off. SEC. They are both 6-2. LSU just has that win over them. Yeah. If Georgia, I think Georgia's in definitely no matter what. Only way they're not in is LSU beats them by 700 and 700,000. Then Michigan, they're probably guaranteed in. I would keep TCU in even if they lost by a lot. Their strength of schedule is insane. Then USC. I'm sure they're about to smack Utah. I don't know if Utah is ready, but who knows?
I wouldn't be so sure.
Do we have anything else to say about conference championship, Tom, or are we good?
I think we're good. Y'all have a great week, and go Tigers.
You guys have a great one. Check out the YouTube and the Spotify. Hope you guys have a great one. And we hope for some upsets. Peace out.